Hey guys, it's Gregory Iron, and this week I am beat. I did a lot of traveling over the weekend. One of my first road trips in a while. I went from Cleveland to Washington State to Orlando, Florida, back to Cleveland. And while to some I might sound like a pansy, to others they might think that's insane, considering that I did this from Thursday to then Saturday night after sleeping 2 hours in an airport after commentating two whole wrestling shows for my good friends out at Northwest Pro Wrestling and my buddy JD Mason. Shout out to him, which, by the way, it was great seeing Brian Kendrick for a second. A lot of luchadors on this show for Lucha Libre and Lowriders. What an event out there. 2 hours of sleep on the floor of the airport before flying to Orlando, Florida to surprise Candice LeRae for her birthday party. And had a great time seeing them and the family and some old WWE friends and independent wrestling friends. And I'm just spent. I'm beat. I didn't get home till late Monday night when I usually record the show. And the last couple of days, it's taken me longer to recover than I would like. I'm sore in my shoulder. It's my first time traveling this long in an aisle seat with my shoulder. Someone bumped into me. I sound like an old man right now. My neck is killing me from sleeping on the plane. Is this where I'm at in my life? In about 2 weeks, I'm going to be 39, and all of a sudden my body's just breaking down. But be that as it may, I wanted to get a podcast out for you guys, and I'm going to be doing some stuff over on Patreon probably in the next couple days. Patreon.com/IronOnWrestling, where you get a buttload of bonus content. I'll be dropping a free episode over on Patreon this week, so sign up for the free tier if you're interested in that, and I'll be dropping a bonus episode for the paid subscribers. $3 gets you in the door. It's the best way to support the show. And yeah, this is from the DWO podcast that we're in this week. I did an interview with those guys a few weeks back. I want to say it was sometime in July. And we talked a little bit wrestling, but we talked mostly life and mental health, much like we do on this show, Iron on Wrestling. And so I felt like it'd be nice to give some of the listeners who aren't on Patreon and haven't already heard this episode a opportunity to hear this conversation. We go for about an hour and 15 minutes. I think it's really great, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. And I think this is a good way to hold you over until next week when I'm back in the saddle with Aaron and all that good stuff. In the meantime, make sure you support my sponsors, TNT-Health.com, where you can get the best protein that I know of that you can mix with water, the best creatine, the best glutamine for pre and post workout. They have so many things to help you with your health and wellness, and you're going to love them. Use promo code IRONON to save 10% on anything you buy on TNT-Health.com. Also, if you're looking for some good artwork for a t-shirt, a logo for your big or small business, just something you want to gift to a family member, perhaps maybe even for me, for my birthday, you could reach out to Juan Ortiz and Of the Dead Designs. They've been doing this for over 20 years, so why not reach out to one of the best in the entire industry? Check them out over on Instagram at Of the Dead Designs, Facebook.com/Of the Dead Designs, or go to his website, ofthedead.weebly.com, because Of the Dead Designs, as always, is bringing artwork to life. And with that being said, make sure you check me out on social media. Find me at Gregory Iron on X, Gregory_Iron on Instagram, Facebook.com/handicappedhero. For everything else, go to handicappedhero.com. It'll link you to my Cameo. It'll link you to my Pro Wrestling Tees store where you can buy old out-of-print Gregory Iron shirts. And if you want to book me, you can do that over at handicappedhero.com for pro wrestling seminars, motivational speaking, a plethora of other stuff. You know, just don't make it weird. And that's it. Hey, thanks for listening. Go over to Patreon for more content this week and enjoy this conversation from the DWO Dad World Order podcast. Until next time, kiss goodbye.
Yeah, this K got a great vision. If you don't know, you better find out what Dad had. I'm here to prove a point. We three kings just believe that you don't want to tussle with them. This show is thunder. So try to tune in and you're laughing to the very end. Don't turn your back on the Dad Pack. Don't turn your back on the Dad Pack.
Put the kids to bed. Dad's home. We are the DWO podcast, representing the Dad World Order. I am the pretty face Papaw, Mr. Magnificent Mike Martin. With me, as always, the rest of this Patriarch pack. We got the big bad bearded daddy. He is Big Rig Eric Maffey.
If you hear me, baby, let's go.
Oh, yeah. 10-4, good buddy. And he is the perpetual mid-carder and the two-time world record holder. He is the wrestling T-shirt guy, Cephas.
We're on day 1,280 of consecutively wearing wrestling shirts. And check it out. This one's cool because it's got this title, but then it's my title.
Oh.
Title. I should have wore a title on top of that, and it would have been titled Trifectas.
I'll tell you what, man, what a way to debut your belly to our esteemed guest here. As Mr. Magnificent said, we are the DWO podcast, and tonight we have with us a very special guest. He is the one, the only, Gregory Iron. Sir, how the heck are you?
Good. Not to be confused with Jeremy Irons, though.
Yeah, not Jeremy Irons.
That sucks.
Also a cool guy, I'm sure, but probably not.
Sure. He was in Die Hard too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, good movie.
He was like a proverbial heel, wasn't he?
Maybe we should reach out to him and then set up an interview with him and accidentally list him as Gregory.
Just even everything out.
Yeah, that would be funny.
All is right in the world now.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. We
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming on here. Let's just elephant in the room. What did you think of our co-host here and his belly?
I've seen that photo circulating around the internet, actually. As soon as you lifted up your shirt, I was like, oh, wow, yep, I've definitely seen that around. Kudos to you. That's you're a brave man for getting that. And it's very specific, too, with the red WWF logo.
Yes.
I can appreciate the specifics.
I got a Macho Man right here. So that era of wrestling, I mean, he was, champion when I was a baby. So that's, you know what I mean? That was, I don't know, I grew up on pro wrestling, and he was my guy always. So.
Yeah. No, I can respect that. Like, and the more exact, the better, because it's like kind of the same, but not really. I was just talking with someone recently. It was actually Johnny Gargano. Now that I think about it, we were getting to an argument because he wanted me to buy this. There's a T-shirt page that we follow on Instagram, and they post I think it's Toy Snobs actually. They post retro movie stuff all the time, sometimes wrestling stuff, and they posted a Hasbro style wrestling shirt with WWF figures.
Oh.
And he sent it to me oh, maybe you should buy this, right? He forwarded it to me on my Instagram messages. And I said, nope, can't do it, because the front of it said 1991 Hasbro something. And then in the photo, I pointed out to him, I said, this isn't accurate. He shouldn't have listed the year 1991 because he had Razor Ramon's figure on there, and he had Giant Gonzalez on there. And I was like, I will not buy. You just lost a sale because those weren't even out in 1991. He's like, it's a good shirt, man. I'm like, but it's not accurate, okay? It's not accurate. It's like every dork that walks around with that WrestleMania 14 shirt that they sell at Walmart or whatever, where it's it's not period appropriate Shawn Michaels on there. It's Shawn Michaels from 93 versus Stone Cold Steve Austin from 99. No sale for me, okay? It's got to be exact, okay? You're not going to fool me.
See, I agree with you to an extent, but I have that shirt.
Come on, man.
I will say it was gifted to me, for one. They saw it at Walmart, and they were like, oh, I bet Bo doesn't have this one. And at this point, I was telling the guys, I really need to do a count again, because I think I'm almost at owning 1,000 shirts now. So that's, that's really, really freaking cool. My garage is now my closet. So I have
That's wild.
poles hung up, and they're all alphabetical now. So
I don't think I have 1,000 wrestling shirts, but I have hundreds and hundreds of shirts in general because I was I still kind of am, but it's rougher now that it's so expensive. I love vintage T-shirts and a lot of stupid T-shirts in general and old wrestling shirts, and so every few months I have to go through my drawers and sort everything out again, because once I do it, I try to put shirts in specific spots. Like these are all Stone Cold Steve Austin shirts or whatever. These are all white shirts. These are all this, that. And then within a month, it gets all sorted out of order again. And then 6 months later, I got to start over. So it's just a mess. I got to get rid of some shirts, but it's so hard. I'm like such a freaking hoarder.
Yeah, I feel you. Hey, have you guys ever had a shirt that you like, a T-shirt that you love the design on, but absolutely hate the T-shirt that it's printed on? It's like the most uncomfortable material, or the neck's wrong on it, or something like.
All those late '90s shirts.
Yeah.
They're so heavy. I hate them.
Yep. There's one that I have that's an all over print, which I'm a slut for all over prints. Anything that is on the sleeves and everything, I love it. And it's an all over Undertaker, and I ordered it from WWE Shop. And this is like 2011 when I ordered it. It was like a $50 shirt, so it was like supposed to be high quality. And I put it on, and it felt like wearing dry, chapped leather. Like it still feels like that. I've washed it 5-6 times since then, and it's not. It's just no. Yeah.
I always
Terrible.
felt like that when, I'm not trying to knock PWTs. Obviously, we sell our stuff on PWTs, but the basic cotton shirt from PWTs feels like I'm wearing a canvas bag half the time.
Yeah.
Like you have to get the upgraded.
Yeah,
shirt.
yeah. If you don't upgrade, if you're gonna wear it, yeah. If you're gonna sell it, I guess whatever. But if you're gonna wear it, but do your fans a favor and put it on nice cotton.
Good one. I get it though. You know what I mean? Some people are just like, oh, I'm only gonna wear this a couple times. I don't need that extra $1 or so.
Dude, well, speaking of PWTs, man, I checked out your PWT store. One, you have a ton of designs, which is really cool. But my favorite, I think, was like the Bone Thugs and Harmony themed one, because obviously native of Cleveland, so you know.
Cleveland boy, yeah. I got a lot of out of print shirts on there. Basically, once they go to the graveyard, they pretty much stay on Pro Wrestling Tees unless someone puts out some wild request to get them done again. But yeah, obviously Cleveland born and raised, Bone Thugs and Harmony for a long time, especially in the 90s, were like the most relevant musical act in the city. And, I went to a very, urban elementary school and middle school, Lower West Side of Cleveland. And so, every kid, regardless of color, would try to proclaim that they were like some sort of cousin with one of the Bone Thugs members.
Oh, yeah.
And that obviously was never true. But, they're still so popular. They renamed the one East 99th in Cleveland to like Bone Thugs and Harmony Street or something. And within a couple days, someone in the neighborhood stole the sign and they haven't replaced the sign. So it's like, it was inevitable. The east side of Cleveland, I don't know if you guys ever been, it's like west side is like kind of bad, but that's where I grew up. So it's like, I'm kind of numb to, the shittiness of it. Like it's 4th of July weekend. And so all month long, when you're on the west side of Cleveland, you're questioning whether it's actual fireworks or gunshots, but you just don't like it's not like you're scared or anything. But east side of Cleveland, if you can help it, you don't stop on the east side of Cleveland, especially as you get deeper into East Cleveland. It's just bad territory out there.
Wow. No, I've never been to Cleveland.
There's a
rumor that it rocks.
Yeah, Cleveland doesn't, dude. One of the greatest TV theme songs ever. Let's be real.
One of the greatest shows ever.
Yeah, true.
Sure.
Have you ever seen the YouTube video that "Come On Down to Cleveland Town"?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, come on down to Cleveland Town, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
See both of our buildings. And there's a one in there where it's like, don't go to East Cleveland or you will die.
Yeah, I mean it's very, very accurate. Yeah, it's no joke over there, man. I wouldn't mess around.
I think you definitely touched on something that I kind of am akin to of the not really being worried about it. I grew up in kind of a rougher area myself, and like, for example, when we went to the Royal Rumble in St. Louis a few years ago, I think it was when Brock and Ronda won. It was the middle of the night, and I was like, I really want a drink. So we walked a half a mile down in the middle of St. Louis, and my wife was like, "Are you crazy?" I'm like, "No, it's fine." Like I don't know. Like I'm desensitized to things that could be potentially dangerous. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think about it at all. It's like I lived there as a kid. I trained in like one of the shittiest areas on the west side of Cleveland, and you know, it like they've tried to fix up that general area. It's called like Ohio City now, right? And it's still, even though they're integrating like better small businesses and stuff, it's like one side of the street is like sort of upstanding citizens and hipsters, and then the other side of the street is still crackheads and bums. So it's, you know what I mean? Like they're just not going to leave the neighborhood. That's not how it works.
We got that in Cincinnati too. They like renovated like what used to be just like a shit street, you know what I mean? And like they've like renovated bars and all this like you said, hipster stuff. And then like directly like the block behind it is just absolute trash. You know what I mean?
I was there doing the electric in those buildings. When that was yeah, it was super fun. I watched a guy get put in a body bag while at work. That was interesting.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That was awful.
Wow. That's a day.
Yeah, we I had to walk to work every day too. We couldn't even park on the job site. That was super fun. I remember going to the real quick work story. So there's a Kroger right down there. It's the original Kroger right on Vine Street. And I would go to that Kroger, and there was a guy that was outside that Kroger pretty much every day. And I'd go there for lunch if I didn't pack or whatever. And this guy, without fail, I mean, he was very obviously mentally ill, or he just didn't care. He would always be like, "Hey man, can I get a couple bucks? It's my birthday." And he's like, "I'm a military vet or whatever," and he'd show me his ID, and he said the same. He said it was his birthday every day. That was his.
Maybe it is.
And I'm like, "Do you not recognize me? Like I'm here every other day." It was very funny. I'm like, "Hey man, you know, consistency. I'm sure he gets something out of somebody." So,
to be fair, all you white people do look the same though.
That's true. It's very
true. Man, Greg, you gotta mention you have had quite the rivalry with one of our former guests, and he's one of our best buddies, man, Lindsay Dorado.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Is there any kind of crazy behind the scenes stories you could tell us about your run with Lindsay? Because you guys had quite a few matches from what I can see.
Well, you know what? Unless I'm forgetting something, we might have did a scramble. I think we only really had that one match in Chikara. I mean, I did a lot of shows with Lindsay back in the day, but I always look back at that match specifically as one of my breakout moments because I was trying to get into Chikara for a couple of years, you know, pretty much since I started wrestling. It was one of the more notable places. And, you know, if you wanted to make a name for yourself, Chikara was one of the places to be. And I want to say that, you know, because Gargano helped train me. He's like my best friend. At the time, I think Gargano was already in Chikara. And Sammy Callahan was always a good friend of mine when I started out. And he kept telling me he was putting me over to Quackenbush. And, you know, it was one of those, yeah, okay, sure, like, I'll believe it when I see it. And then he put me in a scramble with Quackenbush just so he could figure out who I was. And I was able to keep up with Quack a little bit. And basically, you know, I asked him, hey, is there an opportunity in Chikara? He just said, just email me every couple months. And that's what I did. I stayed on him. And it got to the point where in 2010, you know, he reached out to me last second. It was like 2 weeks before the Young Lions Cup. And he said, hey, someone got injured. I got a spot. Are you open? I was not open, but it was a shit show that I was working here, and I had known the guy for a while, so I contacted them immediately and said, hey, can I do Chikara instead? And they understood. And I said, yep, I'm open. And so I went out to Chikara, and I was a mystery opponent for Lindsay. That was the deal. And so when I came out, I got no reaction whatsoever, right? Because it's just like, this guy with cerebral palsy, mystery opponent, whatever. And this was when, I can't remember if Lindsay was associated, he was in the BDK or he was just associated with them in this segment. But, you know, him and the BDK were kind of mocking my hand or whatever. We started out hot. And, you know, I did stuff in that match with Lindsay that I only do with people I trust. And I just knew watching Lindsay stuff how good he was. And, you know, he really took care of me. And I look back at my Chikara run, which only happened because of that match with Lindsay, by the way. Like, it was so good, and I got so over, and I got a standing ovation after that. Quack asked me if I wanted to do the show the next day, and then he brought me in as a regular, which, looking back on it, it's an honor because you look back at that roster from, like, 2010 to 2012, 2013 when I was there, it was really mostly homegrown Chikara people or people that lived in that Pennsylvania area. Yeah. I want to say at the time that the only people that were coming in from out of state regularly on the roster, on the website, was me, Gargano, and Sugar Dunkerton. And I look back and I wish I would have been more prepared for that run because I often say that, again, sometimes, you know, your own biggest critic. I really feel like that was like maybe my only really good match that I look back on in Chikara. I had some glimmers of hope and some bright spots, but that was my favorite moment. Chikara was right in the beginning, and I thank Lindsay for that. And we bonded immediately too because it was around that time that he had that really severe concussion where they had to take him out on a stretcher, and so we bonded on that because I when I started I had a concussion with brain bleeding, and so we were kind of like on the same page. It's like, yo, how do you protect yourself? And like, cause he's not the biggest guy in the world and I'm definitely not the biggest guy. So it's like, you know, I'm still figuring out as a kid 4 years in, like, how do I tell people no? And so, yeah, Lindsay's a great dude, man. I haven't seen him in a long time, but I feel like if I did, it would be like we just saw each other yesterday.
Bro, so our first interaction with Lindsay, we were hanging out backstage. We are sponsors of Sammy's Revolver, by the way. We've been sponsors for 2 years, actually, this July. We've officially been sponsors for 2 years. But anyways, we're hanging out backstage like hours and hours and hours before a show in Iowa. And we're just kind of hanging out and talking. And then I'm hanging out and bullshitting with this guy. And I never knew nothing about him or nothing. I don't know who he was. We're having a good time. And he's like, yeah, later tonight I'm going to be in this match. I think he was wrestling Gringo. I don't know who he was wrestling somebody. And he mentioned it. And I was like, holy. You're fucking Lindsay. He's like, oh yeah, I don't have my face on. I was like, yeah. I had no idea, man. And he was like, we hit it off and had a great time, man. It was he's a fantastic dude. And then he came on the show right before he went back to NXT to work with them, and it was really cool to see him on stage with that AAA show, the Worlds Collide. Him and Iguana.
Oh, it was fantastic.
He killed it.
He did. I need to get me a new Lindsay shirt, but they don't have any for sale on WWE Shop yet. Boo.
We got to push that, man. That's unbelievable. He's the only person on that card that didn't get a new shirt.
Yes, literally.
Unbelievable.
The entire show, every single person now has a shirt on WWE Shop but him. Stop it. Give that man a shirt. I know he was a last-minute fill-in, but still. So have you done any work with Revolver? Have you worked for Revolver at all?
I think I did one or two of their shows maybe in Dayton when they ran, and I was at one of the shows in Iowa years ago now, but I've never worked with Revolver. I mean, I would love to. I don't know what that's going to look like now that I'm injured, and I don't know if I'm going to be wrestling again. I'm still actively recovering, but Revolver, they always look like they're doing cool stuff. And being booked in Iowa would be a great excuse for me to go back to Zombie Burger, which is like my favorite burger in the world. And I would still need my pay if I'm there, but also I would accept half payment in Zombie Burger if that helps the promotion in bringing me in.
Look, we'll spread the word to Sammy. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you what. The next time we go out to Iowa, we're gonna have to get that. I have no idea.
I'm literally googling it right now.
You never had it, dude?
No, we've been to Iowa multiple times too.
Listen. So
Casey's Pizza the entire way out there.
Okay, so I've only wrestled in Iowa 3 times, and 2 of the times They just happened to be within the same month. And so I wrestled there 1 month and then ended up getting Zombie Burger. And then I'm not kidding you. I always cite it as like the best burger I ever had because they did grilled cheese buns, but they would bake the cheese in the buns. So it was like chef's kiss, right? And so like 3 weeks later, I was booked in Iowa with Zach Allen, okay? And we were booked in some show in like some big fancy hotel. And so great setup, nice little gig. And we got vouchers to eat like the steak dinner in the buffet, which is cool. And I definitely was going to eat the steak dinner. But I walked up to Zach and I said, dude, I had the best burger ever in my life 3 weeks ago here in Iowa. And I Googled it, and there's a Zombie Burger like 90 minutes away from this place. He's like, dude, I'm not driving an hour and a half for a fucking burger. We're getting free steaks. I said, hear me out. We wrestle. Okay, we wrestle the match. We go get the steak dinner. We sit for like a half hour and chill. Delicious steak dinner. Now we have a 90-minute car ride because in 2 hours we're going to want to eat again. We get there, we order the best burger ever, and then we drive back to the hotel. And he goes, if we do this and this burger is terrible, I'm going to murder you. And I said, I'm willing to take that loss, you know. And needless to say, he was in agreement, and he too said it was one of the best burgers he ever had in his life. So, yeah, again, if you guys want to sponsor me to come out there and hang out and then also eat Zombie Burger, please, let's do it.
I mean, we'll bring you to Cincinnati and get you some Conies, man. That's easier on us, you know what I mean? We're all Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky located, so you know.
I ain't got a problem with Conies.
Hey, I love Conies. I've already showed my belly, but we're talking about it.
Show him your wiener.
Cheese Coney. I got a wiener.
Good God.
I'm just covered in nonsense, man.
That's just the tip of the iceberg, I assure you.
Dude,
That's why I have no tattoos, because I feel like I would only get insane stuff like that. Oh. But I would change my mind in like 2 weeks. I would get like Bart Simpson pooping out a Ninja Turtle, and then it would be funny, and then 2 weeks later I'd be like, damn, it's permanently on my body.
I'm about to get Eminem as
a new idea.
I've got all kinds of weird shit. I'm about to get Eminem as an Eminem. I've got Patrick Swayze as a centaur, and instead of saying Roadhouse, it says Roadhorse.
Love that.
Covered in nonsense, man.
Also, I'd just
so
like
good.
to, we're getting a confirmation from a local Iowan. I just texted our boy Tyler Wrestles, asked him if he's ever heard of Zombie Burger, and he said definitely been there a few times. They have a location downtown and one in the mall. Really good food.
There it is. Boom. Heard it there.
Confirmed.
What are you sipping on, brother? Is that an energy drink or is that an adult beverage?
Yeah, no, I don't do the adult beverages. I'm straight edge kid. Don't drink or smoke. Yeah, but so this is a Rockstar Recovery. I don't normally indulge in energy drinks. I actually was off of them for like 3 years, and I got back on them a couple years ago, but I got off of energy drinks because it was just, they were tearing up my stomach. I basically had started drinking them when I became a wrestler, and I'm taking road trips and stuff, and I need to stay up late, and I didn't realize how bad it was tearing up my stomach, and like, you know, I had the caffeine headache crash all the time, and then I was reading some stuff, and I read about how basically green tea and ginger could help you avoid, you know, the crash when you're getting off of energy drinks, and I tried it, it worked, and I didn't drink them for a while, and then it became a peer pressure. Again, Johnny Gargano, he kept, because he knew I wasn't drinking them, he's like, hey man, just drink an Endo, man. Calls them Endos as if that's going to catch on. Just drink an Endo. And one night, I don't know, I caved in, but I'll never drink more than half of a can because I just don't want to get that caffeine crash. And I've managed to avoid it since I've been drinking them again. So, yep.
I've pushed the limits on caffeine intake. We used to have like this kind of make to order hot drink machine at our work, and I would get a hot chocolate, and I would just keep adding shots of espresso to it. I forget where the threshold was, but I hit it one night, and I could taste my heart beating.
Oh, I bet. Me and Johnny, we always talk about when, you know, we started wrestling and working out and stuff, and the way that like not only energy drinks were, but you know, back in the day, lifting weights, when you would take like Jack 3D, like that stuff that got banned basically because it was like so insanely caffeinated and God knows what else. And then like ephedra tea and man, all that shit is so bad for you. And it's good that, you know, we've got a little bit safer with that stuff. But like, I mean, I think we take for granted or we sort of abuse how much we could do with caffeine because in Canada there's like restrictions when you go up there, like how much caffeine they'll put in energy drinks and shit. It's crazy. And I always worry that we're like this generation is like the test market for how bad energy drinks are probably going to be long term. Like I don't think it's probably on the same level, but who knows? But like I often think back to like, you know, 80 years ago when people were smoking cigarettes all the time and it was like a cool thing to do. It was like, everybody's smoking and like now you're all dead from lung cancer. And it's like, geez, I wonder what energy drinks are freaking doing to us.
I was in high school taking those yellow jacket pills to be able to stay awake all day and not get in trouble for falling asleep. And now it's like if I even saw my kid with a yellow jacket, I'd be like, oh, you're grounded.
yeah, done for.
Yeah, for sure.
Dude, I remember when I started working night shift. I worked night shift for like 10 years. We had a guy that would make coffee, which I was on energy drinks for a while, but I'm just pretty much strictly a coffee drinker now. I have an Alani every now and again, but he would make this coffee. He'd make a whole pot, and he would fill the grounds up almost to the top. So he'd make it super strong. And then he would take that coffee, pour it in the back where the water goes, fill it up with new grounds, and brew it again.
Sounds like a maniac.
Look, you need to stay awake. You were seeing sound.
I actually,
good Lord.
I was abusing monsters for a while, man. Actually, in 2018, I had a heart attack caused by overstimulants, and it was because I was drinking 12 to 15 monsters a day. And
a day?
A day, sir. And when I got to the hospital, I woke up one Saturday morning, and it felt like my heart was like doing like physically, I could feel it. So I went in, and they're like, sir, you're in the middle of a heart attack. How much cocaine do you do? And I was like, well, I don't do cocaine. I am a strictly the devil's lettuce guy. You know, I don't even really drink either. Like I will, but I don't, you know, and they told me, they're like, sir, we're going to find out when we do these tests how much, we're just trying to figure out how much you did because we need to know this so we can counteract it. I was like, I don't do, you know, lo and behold.
That's awful.
The taurine specifically, I guess, is basically there's something in that was making my heart drown itself, essentially. Like,
Wow.
Yeah, I was very lucky to not have permanent damage, and to be honest with you, I still drink Red Bulls here and there, but Red Bulls aren't as bad. They don't make me feel like Monster did. So, but I got to blame Speedway on it a little bit because they had Monsters 3 for $5. And I would go there in the morning, and I'd get 3 for $5. And then I'd go there at lunch, and I'd get 3 for $5. And then I'd go on the way home, and I'd get 3 for $5. And then I'd be sitting there playing video games, and I'd need some more before bed, so I'd go get 3 for $5. And it was,
oh my God,
it was a problem. It was an absolute problem. It's crazy too.
Don't drink 3 Monsters before you go to bed.
Long story short, I come from a family of addicts, and the last thing I wanted to do was become one. And I spent my whole life trying. I won't do pharmaceuticals. I won't take an Advil. And then all of a sudden, I'm drinking freaking 15 Monsters. So you know.
Well, so that's how I found out that I had a problem too. Is, you know, I wasn't drinking 15, but you know, there was often times where my roommate at the time, when I was living with him, you know, he'd hear me in the living room crack open a Rockstar energy drink at like, you know, 11 p.m. and then be to sleep by 11:30. It's like, why are you even drinking energy drinks anymore? Like, you're not getting energy. You're immune to it. And, man, you know, you talk about coming from a family of addicts. That's why I don't drink or smoke. But I feel like, and I know that I have an addictive personality, and, you know, it's just best that I don't try the drugs or the alcohol. Like I got no problem with people that drink in moderation, or it's actually to the point where I would prefer people to like smoke weed around me, because I just feel like that's somehow less dangerous, but it's just not my thing. And I just know how I am and like the type of shit that I get addicted to. And it's just best that I try to stay more addicted to the most positive things possible. So.
And that's good. You know that about yourself, and you're self-aware. And I mean, self-awareness is one of something that a lot of people in this world need and don't have. So I feel like if a lot of people were a little more self-aware, maybe go to therapy and figure some stuff out, we'd be a little better off in the world. But
I don't disagree, but you know what? I also think to myself quite often that I wish I could be so ignorant and not have the self-awareness that I've always had. Like it's
little ignorance is action. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've always thought like, so I'm in the process of writing a book, and you guys are mentioning therapy here and stuff, and I'm going through a lot personally. I'm in the, I got this injury that I'm dealing with, and I tore my pec tendon back in March on my good arm, of course, which in retrospect it's probably best that I tore it there, because as I've actively been doing PT, it's like, I only have so much mobility in my right arm. I don't know if I would be able to regain what I have currently in my right arm if I tore it, based on the type of exercises that I have to do. But then, at the same time, I went through a breakup with my girlfriend, and, just a sweetheart of a girl, the best person that I've ever met in my life. And it, to be transparent, it came down to, she wanted me to go to therapy, and I don't have anything against therapy, but I've always felt like I'm a guy, because I'm so self-aware and introspective. I always feel like eventually I figure it out. Right. And then we broke up, and I got injured, and I'm like, maybe I should try this therapy stuff, because I got nothing but time. And because I'm self-aware and introspective, the second I started doing therapy, like session 1, there were so many things that were like connecting with me that made sense, that made me think, gee, all those things that I found out on my own, I wonder how much quicker I could have figured them out if I just did this years ago. And I don't even know why I was so hesitant about it. Like, it almost felt like, because again, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think there's an element of fear, right? Like, especially with me, because a lot of my trauma is childhood, and I'm like doing double therapy right now. Like, I'm talking to someone once a week, but I'm also writing this book where, for the first time in my life, I've always been very open and honest about my story and my struggles, not just my disability, but my drug addict mother and my alcoholic dad, a functioning alcoholic, but an alcoholic nonetheless. And both of them in various ways were mentally and physically abusive, both to each other and to me. And I've always talked about it, but I'm the type of guy that as a teenager, I found as a coping mechanism, making fun of myself before anybody else can, right? Like, I found a lot of inspiration in Norm Macdonald and the ability to, I'm so awkward inside, and not only do I want to make fun of what you're making fun of me for better than you can, but I'm also going to make you feel really uncomfortable about it. So that way we just don't ever talk about this again. And it's okay to have laughter as a coping mechanism, but when it becomes your only mechanism, I think that is a real issue. And so now, for the first time, I'm like writing this stuff out in detail and reliving it. I feel like I'm truly healing, because like, I've never taken this stuff out and really, I've never taken it out of the drawer and unpacked it and looked at it and examined it and tried to understand it and realize this is what I have, and then put it away. It's just like, it just sits in there, and I open it and I see it and I talk about it for a second, and then I move on. But now it's like I'm healing, and it's like, I just wish I would have done this a lot sooner. That's my rambling.
I'm so thankful that you said that here. We are huge proponents of men's mental health. We came from an era where it wasn't as acceptable to emote. You know what I mean? I used to get, I had a fairly abusive stepfather that kind of basically stifled any feelings that I would have, you know what I mean? And he would make me feel bad for having them. And that's not how I am, you know what I mean? And that's not how I am with my kids. So it's an evolution, and it's all getting better, but it starts with people like us and you sharing our stories and how we feel about shit, because it's important, man. It really is. Too many people. I lost a cousin when I was 15 years old to self-inflicted ways, okay? And it really altered the course of my life, and I don't want my kids to have to deal with that type of stuff until, I don't ever want them to deal with that at all. So I try to promote anyone and everyone to have positive mental health.
And the thing is, dude, and probably at that time you didn't have anybody, a support system around you to talk you through that, not like your kids have. So even if they were to experience something like that, I feel like you and Krista are definitely way more equipped to have the conversations and help guide them through those feelings and emotions.
It's almost to a point to where I'm obviously, I believe I have free will, but there's a part of me that believes in a destiny almost, because I went through all the bullshit that I went through with my drug addicted parents. And granted, me and my mom are in a great portion in our life. Here in 2 weeks, I'm taking her to go see her favorite country artist. We're going to have a great time at Riverbend. It's awesome. Things get better, but they don't always get better. You know what I mean? And I think my kids are benefiting from me having such a shitty upbringing, because they don't know that. You know what I mean? My kids know happiness. They know me and my wife been together 15 years. Nobody in my family did anything like that. So it takes work. I just hope I'm setting a good example for them.
That's all you can ask for, man. That your kids had it better than you had it. I mean, I feel like that's a success.
Do you have any kids, Greg?
Yeah. No kids. I have one niece. She's a year and a half, and I have basically, Gargano's like my brother, so his kid Quill is like my nephew. He's always sending me videos of him talking about Uncle Greg. So that's the closest thing I got. But I love kids, and I think it's because I'm a kid at heart, and I think for better and for worse, again, a big part of my childhood trauma was that of this escapism that came through pro wrestling, but also I was raised a lot of the time by the television. So there's this fondness for cartoons and certain movies, because I didn't have cable, that I had taped off of TV that I watched millions of times because I didn't have anything else to watch, that I, even if they're not the best movies, they mean something to me because it's all I had, right? And
comfort shows and your safe shows, yeah.
Yeah, it's like for example, people always give me shit because I always pick Ghostbusters 2 over Ghostbusters 1, and I believe Ghostbusters 1 is obviously the superior film, but I think I seen Ghostbusters 2 first, and I had that one on VHS, and I didn't have Ghostbusters 1, so I watched 2 all the time, right? So I love that, and it's I think as I got older, there's this moment in my life where I thought, because I was becoming an adult, based on the lies and the bullshit that you hear from people around you, it's you got to kind of let go of that stuff, right? And that didn't last long, because, I think I realized that, I don't know, I lost out on that stuff because I had to grow up pretty quickly. There was a period of time where I was just living with my mom, and obviously she's an addict and she's gone for all hours of the day and night. And there were times where me and my brother, who's a year younger than me, were 9 and 10 years old, taking care of my newborn baby brother. And so I lost out on some childhood stuff. And I guess when I became an adult, there was that part of me that sort of latched onto it. And now through wrestling and that journey and figuring out, at first becoming a wrestler was about proving people wrong and throwing it back in people's faces. And then somewhere along the way, I started to meet people, adults, and, specifically kids that were like me, right? And through wrestling, I've gotten to do motivational speaking, which I'm hoping with writing this book and with this downtime and the injury, I'm going to do much more than that. Like, I'd love to be a full-time motivational speaker, but being able to, over the years, be the person that can come to a school, share my story, interact with these kids, and be somebody that I wish would have came to my school when I was a kid, when I was going through all my bullshit, and just kind of told me, you know, hey, there's a light at the end of the tunnel and everything's going to be okay. That's powerful. And I think, you know, that's what life is all about, is happiness and helpfulness, is right. It's like finding the things that make you happy, embrace it, even if it's weird as fuck and other people don't understand it. And, when you see people in a situation where they're looking for their happiness and you have the opportunity to pull them up, that's where the helpfulness comes in, and you pull them up and you help them find the things that are going to keep them going and make them stronger.
Oh yeah, man. That's the way to be, dude. I honestly, I can't wait to read your book. I really like to read things that are from people, if that makes sense. But versus a third person perspective. For example, Steve Kern, his book is that you can definitely tell that book was wrote from his mouth. You know what I mean? Someone might have wrote it down for him, but those stories were from him. Speaking of stories, though, we had a guy on earlier this week who had some stories with you.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Jeremiah from NWF. I don't know if you...
Yeah, Rockstar. Yeah, we had a lot of matches in Rockstar back in the day.
Yeah, he was giving you a little bit of shit. He told us to give you shit as well. He's mine. I've been a friend with him for like 20 years, but he was just on the show literally the episode before you, and he was like,
"That's funny."
We were telling him you were going to be on. He was like, "Oh hell yeah, give him shit."
Dude, every wrestler that we've had on and we've mentioned like that we were going to have you on since we booked this has popped huge for you. Like it's made us everybody that like has that reaction just got us more and more and more excited for this conversation.
Yeah, that's funny. That's a good feeling. You know what I mean? It's you know, sometimes you think, especially when you're going through your worst crap, like, you know, me down and out with this injury and like going through my own shit. It's like right away, someone from my Patreon set up a GoFundMe to make sure that I was able to get by while I'm out of work and out of wrestling and everything. And I got so many messages and well wishes and stuff, and it just makes me remember. You feel like you're so interchangeable, right? Again, like they always talk about, you know, you're just a spoke in the wheel, and, you know, when you're gone, they get someone else. And that's very true. But when you're going through rough shit, it's a nice reminder that the fans really do, and the wrestlers too. You know what I mean? Like they see the people that are working hard. They appreciate the sacrifice and the time that, you know, in my case, I've given to wrestling. It's going to be 19 years since my first match next month, or not next month, I'm sorry, next week. And I don't know, it keeps me going, right? It keeps me positive. And, you know, you talked about writing the book from your own perspective. That was the most difficult thing about starting this. The injury gave me an excuse to do it because I had tried in the past to do things with ghostwriters, and I've always liked writing, but, you know, I always felt like the story, it's not really a success at the end, right? Because it doesn't end with me getting a WWE contract or anything like that. And so that stopped me from writing the story. And then somewhere along the way, I just realized that, it's got to be from my voice because I have a weird active imagination, and there are certain things that I can only tell. I can't have a ghostwriter do it for me. You know, like one of the guys I was working with, God bless him, but you know, he was like writing stuff making references that I would never make, and like creating memories that I didn't have. And I was like, you know, I had to have a conversation with him. I was like, how much money do you need to part ways? And I'll figure this out on my own. And so
save that shit for the movie. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. When I sell the movie rights, then you can do whatever you want. But I don't know. The book in my brain has always been very important to me, and so now it's like, I'm enjoying it. It's a great process, and I realize that, like, you know, the idea is success doesn't have to be defined by what I started out thinking success was, right? Like, I think that goes for anybody, whether you're in wrestling or not. You know, success is what makes you happy. And like so often I try to define my success by what other people deem successful, or in my case, I had a very challenging relationship with my dad. And there was a particular conversation that I once had with him where, I think even though he could be abusive sometimes, like I always wanted him to somehow be my buddy. Right. And as I got older, with my smart ass mouth and my weirdness and me leaning into it, I think he just always saw me like as a weirdo. And like, I don't know, one day I walked into the backyard and I had a wrestling buddy that a company was making for me. And, we sold like 30 of them or something, but it was cool to have a wrestling buddy. And my dad was watering plants in the backyard, and I peeked, I don't peek around the corner, but I peeked the wrestling buddy around the corner. This is how I am. I'm like, if I had to be the character in a show, I'm not the main character. I'm like the zany next door neighbor, right? That just walks in with the laugh track. And so I peeked the buddy around the corner. I'm like, hey, I'm your son, Greg. Like, do you recognize me? And then my dad's like, yeah, cool, whatever. And then I'm showing him like, hey, I have this wrestling buddy, It's like, isn't it awesome? And he's like, yeah, whatever, man. I was like, oh, you just, then inside I'm like angry and pissed off. And like, now it's like the conversation is starting to digress because I'm like, oh, you just have people come over the house all the time with their own action figures and stuffed animals. Like, yeah, I get it, man. And then, I'll never forget. He said to me, let me ask you something. You ever been to WWE? And I said, no. And he goes, then you're not a success. And I mean, shit like that sticks with you, right? And especially when it's people that mean so much to you. Mm-hmm. And I always try to remind people, like, I think the best example that I can think of is like, not just with parents, but like with teachers. I wasn't the biggest fan of school, but when I look back at school, I will always remember the coolest and the best teacher, the one that gave me an opportunity to get through it. And also he just happened to like professional wrestling. And then I also remember the worst teacher who like treated biology like it was a college course and was like an absolute dipshit to me and like talked down to me. It's like that stuff will stick with you. And so you always have to be conscious, especially on like younger people, what you're saying matters for the good and for the bad.
Dude, I forgot so much shit from high school. Like I took 2 years of Spanish, don't speak any Spanish at all. But junior year chemistry, man, my teacher was amazing. Like, he would dress up in character. He would do all kinds of experiments just to, like, you didn't even realize you're learning. You know what I mean? That kind of deal. And, like, I still remember that, man. Like, you're so right in that.
Yeah. Bro, you got to sit down with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Can't nobody tell you nothing. You know what I mean? You may not have gotten signed to WWE or whatever, but, dude, you got to do cool shit with Punk and Cabana. You got to do cool shit with Veda. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of cool things that you did.
You're best friends with Johnny Wrestling?
Yes, Johnny fucking...
Yeah.
Bro, like, by the way, I want to take a moment just to say, that guy has made it so fun to be a nerd and a wrestling nerd in wrestling. Like, his Marvel costumes, like the Johnny Carnage shirt I have is one of my absolute favorite shirts that I have. It's cool. He made being who I am cool. You know what I mean? The same. I named my son Link. You know what I mean? So I know all about naming your son after something you love. You know what I mean? So we're very similar souls. So I just had to throw that out there. But
I think he helped me embrace my nerd too, because I mean, it was at the same time that I was thinking that I had to grow up, but I'm also going to actively try to be a pretend wrestler in spandex. I met Johnny, and those were like the first things that we bonded over. Was like, he was the first kid my age, like I was 19 when I started training. He was 18, and he was the first kid I knew that was still like, yeah, I love Ninja Turtles and like, I'm proud of it. And I love Power Rangers, and I still have toys from when I was a kid. And, I said it for my best man's speech at his wedding. But basically, there was a night that I'll never forget where, so we used to do this thing where in the days of MySpace, okay? Because we didn't know how to talk to girls because we're like big dorks. We lived together, right? We didn't even say that for a long time because we didn't want people to think that like we had like a feud on television and stuff. So we try to keep kayfabe, brother, right? But I lived upstairs from him, but I would always hang out downstairs in his room with him, and we would go on MySpace and we would play Sterling James Keenan's theme song, okay, which is Corey Graves now, and he had like, I can't remember the name of the song. When I do, I'll send it to you guys. But we would play it, and then we thought because he seemed like a ladies' man that it would give us good luck while we searched for girls on MySpace the message because we didn't know how to talk to girls in real life. And I remember this one particular night when doing that, he went into his closet and he found a homemade Shawn Michaels outfit that his mom made for him in like 96, yes. Right? So made for a child. And then he also found a White Ranger outfit. And so he went into his closet in his room, and I went into the bathroom, which was just off of his room. And I put on the Shawn Michaels outfit. And I don't know, I thought he was looking for more shit in his closet. He's putting on the Power Ranger outfit. And we walk out of the doors at like the same time, and we look at each other, and I'm standing there in a child's Shawn Michaels costume that fits me entirely too well, and he's in a ultra small White Ranger outfit, and I remember just nodding my head and going, "We're gonna die alone, aren't we?" And he was like, "Yep." Okay. Yeah. But fast forward, he's got Candace, and every time, listen, I don't know where this podcast is going out to.
You better believe we're clipping this and we're tagging Johnny because I want to hear what he is.
That's fine. That's fine. I don't know what my love life is going to bring for me. I hope that in time, because I really care about the last person that I was with, and I'm actively trying to be better. I hope that some way my path leads back to her. I'm not getting my hopes up, but sometimes I have these moments of like, when I get down, I look and think back to all of the relationships with girls I was fortunate enough to have. And for a guy who grew up never kissing a girl until 18 and never having a freaking girlfriend. And then all of a sudden, like I look back at these old photos in my phone and it's like every girl I ever dated was very pretty and attractive. Some of them were insane, but I had my fair share of cool and sweet girlfriends. And it's just a reminder that like there are more people out there. And if this one doesn't come back to me, I hope that I will find someone just as beautiful and understanding and blah, blah, blah and whatever. But like, there's the saying that there's someone out there for everybody, but I think that's kind of incorrect. It's, there's somebody out there for everybody for a moment, right? I think like everybody has at least one person, but we're not guaranteed how long that moment is supposed to be. And if you can find someone that you can mesh with and you get more than one moment with these people, like, and it's sometimes like that's, it could be for a day, it could be for a year, 2 years, it could be a lifetime. If you're lucky enough to have more than one moment with more than one person, that's pretty fortunate. So I just, you got to try to change your perspective sometimes. Like, right, you switch your perspective, the world shifts around you, and it makes things easier. Because trust me, being trapped in my own head sometimes, it's like, I got to remind myself that like things are going to be okay.
Life is all about perspective, man. You talked about success, and I think that success, whether you're in professional wrestling or just life in general, some people think having a big house and expensive cars is successful, while other people think, a small house with the people they love, and just, having them close to you is success, and I think whatever makes you happy, deems success.
Yeah.
And it's just, again, 100% perspective.
Yeah. And again, like, it's, for me, growing up as a kid with a disability and thinking that, that was the end of the world when I was a kid and I would have done anything to change it. And like, why do I like all this weird shit? Like, I liked pro wrestling way before it got popular again in the 90s. Right. And like, I remember actively being made fun of in school for it and all that. And then of course, you become an adult and I'm like, I'm still into the same shit that I was into as a kid, like Disney and Garbage Pail Kids and like just stupid stuff. And it's like, why do I got to be so weird? But long term, I've realized that all the things that I kept pursuing that were weird, every weird trait about me that I leaned into, it also led me to the greatest successes in my life. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like, how could you argue with that?
Yep. I think I don't necessarily think that it's weird things that we're into, because I'm into the same weird shit. I think it's that just we have no problem being authentic and liking things authentically. Like I'm the first dude. Like if you're coming to a show in Cincinnati, I'm making a fucking sign for you, whether you're good guy or bad guy. I'm gonna make a sign for you. I'm gonna make a ruckus when you're coming out to the ring. You know what I mean? And that's just I'm gonna enjoy it because I don't know when my last wrestling show will be. You know what I mean?
It's true. Ponce de Leon looked for the fountain of youth, but I truly believe staying young at heart is just that, man. I'm 45 years old, and I don't feel a day over 25. You know what I mean? And it's just keep indulging in this stuff that, you know, I enjoy, and to hell with, you know, what everybody thinks about what's, you know, I should grow up or whatever, you know what I mean? Play video games, play with action figures, you know what I mean? Collect, do whatever you want to do, man. Whatever makes you happy.
Plus,
I can't tell you how many people like walk into my house. Like if you look, I'm sitting in my kitchen. Right there on the wall is a skateboard. If you can see, it's
I can't see what's on it.
Alf.
It looks like
it's Alf eating Garfield on a plate. Okay.
Yes.
In my kitchen, and I have multiple skateboards up on the wall that are kitchen themed. Okay, and 9 out of 10 people that come in the house think it's weird as fuck. But guess what? The only people that I care that come in are the 1 person out of 10 that think it's cool. Yeah. Like, if you don't think this is cool or you think it's weird, don't come back to my house. It's fine. Like
go back and watch Alf.
Sir, you and I would be best friends in the real world. I'm saying, whenever we get a chance to, I'm telling you, dude, like if you would have started getting tattoos, you'd be looking like me. I'm covered in nonsense, man.
I know. That's why I didn't do it.
That's my favorite quote ever is from your brother, where he said, every tattoo you have right now, you would have gotten at 16.
Yeah, and it's true. I would have gotten all my tattoos that I have right now. See, I wait for things to be funny, and then I get them tattooed on me. Like I almost got one the other day that I seen tattooed on someone else, which I never get something that someone else has. But they had a bobby pin, but the top of the bobby pin was Bobby Hill's head, and it was
what?
Fantastic. I was like, it's almost worth stealing.
Love that. Love that.
But dude,
maybe we could do it with like Bobby Eaton.
Hey.
Bobby Eaton, Bobby Heenan.
Bobby Heenan?
Bobby Heenan's probably the way to go, honestly.
Bobby the Pin.
That would actually, dude.
Unless you did something like Pinky and the Brain and you put Bobby Heenan's head on.
Greg, don't be surprised when I shoot you a message with a Bobby Heenan Bobby Pin tattoo.
I want full credit for it.
Oh, absolutely. I will absolutely give you full credit.
Dude, when you said Bart Simpson pooping a Ninja Turtle, I thought Cephas was like, I'm going to get that next.
Bro, it's not a bad idea.
I saw his eyes light up.
Those are like 2 of my favorite things of all time is like The Simpsons and the Ninja Turtles, man. Like I got so many Ninja Turtle figures, and like I'm a big fan of specifically bootleg Bart merch from the 90s. And so like, I mean, if you ever look at my wrestling gear, like every pair of gear starting in like 2018 that I've ever had, it doesn't matter what the design is, even if it's out of place, I put, the county I live in is Cuyahoga County. And so, I put Bart Simpson in the shape, his face is shaped like Cuyahoga County. So just his head on my left hip of my tights, it just goes on every pair of gear now for no reason whatsoever. And,
that's dope.
Just my little homage to Bart Simpson and bootleg Bart.
Dude, I grew up watching The Simpsons with my dad. The Simpsons is one of my all-time favorite shows. And it's funny because my 9-year-old now watches it with me, and she'll watch it on her own too.
Here's proof.
Yeah, I got Simpsonized. Yeah,
that's arrogant.
Love that. Love that. Go ahead.
I just want to shout him out real quick. That is an artist. Met him on Instagram. 74 Lands is his account.
Fantastic.
he makes all kind of like Simpsons wrestling crossovers, which is that's what drew me to him. Like, these are so cool. And I think I ended up winning like a giveaway or something. And he did Family Guy crossovers too, but he did Roman Reigns. It was Brian, but he was Roman Reigns, and it was a little keychain.
That's awesome.
And it was just the coolest thing ever. But I was like, hey man, do you do like commissions? Like, if I got you to do like me and my daughter, and he was like, yeah, no problem. Like, did me and my daughter in like multiple different poses, and like I ended up putting it like on a T-shirt and got both of them for us and stuff. So
that's so really cool. When I had a really stupid groin injury in a wrestling match about eight years ago. It was horrible. And basically happened when I got crotched on the top rope. Okay, and so Juan Ortiz, who owns Of the Dead Designs. I don't know if this is up on my pro wrestling tees, but I definitely had it printed. It was done as like to raise funds while I was out with my groin injury. I came up with the idea of like me, but I'm Mole Man, and I'm in a pair of my trunks, and instead of like, when he gets hit in the dick with a football, it's like him getting crotched on the top rope. I thought it was a great idea for a shirt. It sold pretty well.
And then on the back, just have like,
I love the
man gets crotched on top rope.
Yeah. Give this guy a $10,000 GoFundMe.
Yeah, by Gregory Moleman.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's one of my favorite Simpsons scenes ever. Just because Homer is the only person, but he's dying laughing.
Yep.
It's so great.
So, Greg, we already hit our hour, but before we wrap this up, we have a few questions that we generally ask every single person that comes in as a guest. And Mike's going to ask you the first question, and then Eric will follow up with the second.
Yeah. Okay. So we're all dads, and we're all, very budget-minded individuals, especially this, this day and age. We like to ask our guests, what do you keep your thermostat set to?
Come on, what kind of question is that?
Kind of question? It's a very dad question.
Important question.
It's a very dad question, but the only response you're going to get is a very teenage answer, and that would be 69.
Yay! What did you think we were going for? Come on.
Come on.
That is
what are we doing here?
That's the perfect answer.
I know.
Okay, I actually have two questions for you, and the first one is, does your shirt say, yes, I have AIDS? Yeah,
it does. Fan bought this for me, and a guy on my Patreon by the name of Leo. And so, fun story, I put this on earlier, and then I remembered I was doing a podcast, but I was like, I don't feel like changing it. But literally, when he sent it to me in the mail a month ago, it was like one of my first times leaving the house because I wasn't driving. I wasn't going anywhere with my arm injury. I was in the sling. And so I was like, I'm going to walk down to the store 5 minutes away. And I forgot I was wearing this shirt. And it says, yeah, I have AIDS. But then it says, Aaron Carter's entire discography, sucka. So I got all the way to the store wearing this tank top, and when I'm in the store, I'm seeing people giving me like looks, and I'm like, what the fuck are these people looking at? And then I remember that I have a shirt on that says I have AIDS, and then so now I'm at the counter like checking out, and I'm like checking out like this, like I constantly have like an itch on my body as I'm like reaching for my walls and stuff, just so they can't see that I do claim to have AIDS. I don't want to make them uncomfortable in any way. But yeah. So yeah, it does say I have AIDS. Yep. Yep. And listen. Look, Aaron Carter, how many small, young Caucasian boys ever beat Shaq in a one-on-one basketball game? I don't know any. Aaron Carter did.
So when I was very, very young, all my friends told me I used to look like him. So when I first started wrestling, I hated that they called me Aaron Carter. I hated it, right? My first wrestling name was AC Rage because I couldn't fucking stand motherfuckers calling me Aaron Carter. And that's what the guy that trained me came up with. He said, why don't you just call yourself AC Rage? I was like, all right, that works.
Done.
Wow. Amazing.
Well, the second one is a little bit more meaningful question. We always like to ask, what is something, and it can be, absolutely anything, doesn't have to be super deep or whatever, just what is something that you're thankful for today?
I'm thankful for my small circle of friends and family. And, especially with me being hurt, it was very much a nightmare, especially for the first 2 weeks, not having any arms to do anything. And I live with my brother, Zach. He wrestles too, Zach Thomas, and he was helping me a lot. My other younger brother was helping me a lot. He would stop by. They would help bathe me. They would drive me around. My Zach, every morning before he would leave for the day, he would make sure that I had everything that I needed in proper areas, so that way I wasn't extending my arm, because literally the extent of what I could do was, I'm in a sling, so it was a little bit of this forward with my forearm and then back again, and then a little bit of up to maybe wash my face, but I needed help with that. And so he would move the microwave down onto the table so it was within reach, and then he would put my drinks in the refrigerator door so I didn't have to struggle to get in the door. And I'm thankful for that. And just the fans, just for being so supportive. And you never know who you're impacting and how. Next Sunday, July 13th, local promotion RSW is doing a benefit show for me where they're helping just raise some funds to help me with medical stuff and just buying random shit while I'm out on injury. So it's just I'm very thankful for those things. I think people like me more than I know.
I think that's very true, man. You've made an impact just being. I've been following you on Facebook and Instagram for years now. You know what I mean? So I've gotten quite a bit of positivity out of your posts, and you've made an impact in my life, and I've never met you. So that should tell you something. You know what I mean? My first exposure to you was the Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast. I think that might have been my first time being exposed to you.
It was a good start.
Bro, I mean, exactly. Pretty much anything Austin co-signs, I'm in. You know what I mean? You talk about being raised by the television. I have made the joke that he's my stepdad via the television. Austin.
Yeah.
He taught me DTA. He taught me all the core things I needed to know.
I don't think he would mind me saying this, but I really feel since I met him in 2018, Steve has become a friend of mine, which is weird. And he's one of the only wrestlers, which makes no sense, that I'm not scared to say anything to, or he talks shit to me, I talk shit to him. Yes. We have a bunch of bits that we do, and I kind of told him when I was on the show and then off of the recording, because we did 3 podcasts together, so they were separate, a couple years apart. And I without getting too sappy, I told him that he had such an influence on my life. And there was a moment, particularly the first time I did the podcast with him, that we were talking. I was thinking about doing stuff beyond wrestling and really starting to do this motivational stuff and motivational speaking. And he basically told me a story that involved when he was on the road and around Paul Orndorff all the time. And he said to me, I was going through shit, and Paul pulled me aside and said to me, "Kid, there's more to life than wrestling, right? And so I don't know if this means anything to you coming from me, but I want you to know that there's more to life than wrestling." And I mean, Stone Cold was telling me this, so it's it really resonated with me. It was such a simple thing, but coming from him, it was okay. And I think, honestly, that was the start of me trying to broaden my horizons and sort of remembering all the stuff that I liked that wasn't wrestling, and that made wrestling better. And so about a year or two ago, I sent him a care package and a note. I just wanted to tell him how important him saying that was to my life, and how meaningful his text messages with me has been, and his phone conversation. And so the best part was, I had sent him a couple things to sign for my home gym, something for my brother, And the best thing that I got in this package back was a piece of paper that I unfolded, and it said, to Greg, go fuck yourself, Stone Cold Steve Austin, signed by him. And so instantly, like, I didn't even care about the poster for the gym at that point, because I was like, this is being framed. This is going up in the office. Like, you can't put a price on that, right? And so, like, so I don't know. It's just one of those things that just makes you think, like, what the fuck is life? And you never know what you can do. And again, who cares what people deem as successful? Like, to me, if I died tomorrow, Stone Cold wrote me a note that says, go fuck yourself. Die a happy man.
Who else has not many people.
Bro, let's go back in if the house is on fire. I need my Austin note. No, I'm going in.
Right.
That's so fucking cool, man.
Sorry I'm rambling so much, but this has been a great show with you guys.
This has been probably one of my favorite episodes we've ever done, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. You have been an absolutely wonderful guest, and we can't thank you enough. Hopefully we can have you back on at some point. That would be awesome, because I feel like we just scratched the surface.
Hell yeah.
And hopefully we get, I definitely want to be updated on how your book's going and stuff like that. So we'll definitely be reaching out. And when that does come out, you better believe I'm getting me a copy.
Dude, let's catch a Revolver show in Dayton together, man. Let's meet in person.
Yeah, let's do it. I would love that. And I'll keep you guys posted on the book and everything.
We got a section, man. We got a whole section.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. We're rowdy.
We're literally right
Big
here.
time.
I mean, you'd get a free ticket anyway. Sammy would let you in. But I mean, August 9th, dude, they're doing a Jerry Lynn Invitational, dude. Jerry Lynn will be there hosting a tournament. There's tons of people already signed. You know, if you ain't doing
what day is that? Is that a Friday?
It's a Saturday.
It's a Saturday, so.
I think I'm actually obligated to fly to Disney that day, because I was supposed to go this weekend to see little baby Quill, because we keep asking about Uncle Greg, but I got something coming up that I thought was going to be this weekend, but I'm doing Wednesday, so I didn't schedule it. That I'll tell you guys about off air. But I'm going to Disney that weekend, so don't hate me. I'm sorry.
You know what? That's an okay excuse.
That's as good an excuse as any. But
that's freaking reasonable.
You can't disappoint.
Can't disappoint Baby Quill.
You can't disappoint Baby Wrestling. That is for sure.
Right.
Well, man, seriously, thank you so much for coming on. This has been so wonderful. You boys got anything else before we get out of here?
Have a happy 4th of July, everybody. Be safe. Don't lose any digits, man. I got all mine. And I come from the age of M80s and real fireworks. So
I'll be staying in the house, brother.
My neighbors do a whole thing, so I literally just sit in my driveway and watch their hearts
over,
and dollars.
And I do not plan on buying a single firework, if I'm being honest. I kind of just want to play cornhole and hang out.
Exactly. Working the grill.
Yeah, pretty much. That is the plan. Well, as always, we have been the DWO Podcast. I am Brigadier Eric Maffey. He is Mr. Magnificent Mike Martin. He is the wrestling t-shirt guy, Bo Cephas. And he is the one, the only, Gregory Iron. Sir, thank you so much for coming on. You can check us out on all the socials at DWO_podcast, Facebook at the DWO Podcast, TikTok at DWO_pod. Get that dad merch at Pro Wrestling Tees, TeePublic, or message us directly. Like, subscribe, listen, follow, all that good stuff. Greg, where can the people find you?
Find me on Instagram at Gregory_Iron, Facebook.com/TheHandicappedHero. You can listen to my podcast that I do every Wednesday. It airs at 10 p.m. on Wednesday on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, wherever you download podcasts. It's Iron on Wrestling. Been doing it for like 5 years now. If you want extra content from that, it's available over at Patreon.com/Iron on Wrestling, where we have a buttload of extra bonus episodes, audio, video. You can have live chats with me once a month. There's a bunch of tiers that get stuff in the mail. It's a good time. And, I think that's about it. Just, if you also want to get little samples of the book while I'm writing, they're not necessarily finished drafts, but I've been posting some stuff from the book over on Patreon and just trying to get feedback from everybody.
Wow.
And it's been positive, you know, like a lot of people are writing me like, oh, I didn't know this about you, or this made me cry. There's a lot of, right now where it's at, I'm just now starting to write the wrestling stuff. And unlike most wrestling books, there's a lot involving growing up, childhood trauma, and sort of figuring out who you are, not just as a kid, but as I continue as an adult. You know, you're always figuring out who you are. So I think it's going to be more than just a wrestling book for sure.
I'm excited for it, brother, for real.
Yeah.
I collect books, especially when, like I said, when it's got a bit of authenticity to it. You could be the inventor of the microwave, and I will read your book if it seems it's authentic, you know. So.
And I want to hear stories about Grandma.
And also,
I got plenty of them.
Whenever we have you back on, I was told by Withers here that we should have asked you about the Grippo's pretzel story, but maybe we'll save that.
You know what? We could save it for another time, but I'll just say real quick, Grippo's has disappointed me, okay? They were my favorite pretzel, and then for whatever reason, they had to switch manufacturers. I thought they were done for, and they were gone for like 4 months. I mean, I'm literally looking at Reddit posts of people being like, when are Grippo pretzels coming back? Because it was like my favorite thing in Cincinnati, Dayton, Columbus, whenever I was in that area. And
that's like
they got to do
shape, super salty.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, now that it's a different manufacturer, it doesn't taste the same. They're not as good. Like as soon as they came back out a couple months ago, I bought a whole box, and then I was like, it was one of the biggest heartbreaks of my life.
Oh,
Grippo's, get your shit together. The chips are still good though. Grippo's barbecue potato chips are
barbecue chips. Yes, they're
the bee's
magnificent.
Just while we're on this topic, try Oots if you've never had them. UTZ. Try the Oots pretzels. They are.
Oh, I know about them.
Phenomenal.
That is the first time I've ever heard anyone pronounce Utz's pretzels as Oots's pretzels.
I don't know. It's Oots.
It's Oots. Is it not Oots?
I have always called it Utz's. Am I the weirdo that calls it Utz's pretzels?
I think so.
I think it's Oots. I knew
a whole family of people.
It's Utz's pretzels. All right, let's get out of here. Thank you all for watching.
Love
Until
you, boys.
next time, Top Dads out.